Okay, here's the deal. Ubisoft have found themselves in a bit of a hellish situation. What they've done is they've tried to copy Fortnite's monetization, but they've done it in a clumsy and weak way, and then, being absolute geniuses, they try to sell this to their most hardcore players, right? To sell them on the idea that a new spending opportunity was a valuable part of upcoming seasonal content. The problem is, they did this in person, the players didn't agree, they literally booed the announcement at the event in question, and that does mean that Ubisoft are probably having a lot of interesting discussions. There's a few other things going on in Ubisoft land as well. As an example, XDefiant exists, I'll maybe talk a little about that, but overall, if Ubisoft wanted to get this right, then they absolutely should have de-smoothed their brains by enjoying a brand that we've selected and have sponsored today's video. And they're going to help us all save some money. Look, I recently found out I was being charged every month for Microsoft 365 Family, which I haven't used for years. Kinda stung. The good news is that Rocket Money is here to help us in times like this. Rocket Money is a personal finance tool that helps you lower your bills, stay on top of your subscriptions, and manage your money. And you can get started for free today at rocketmoney.com/Bellular. Okay, subscriptions then. Rocket Money will securely and safely identify recurring charges for you. And with that done, you can cancel them in just a few taps. Like seriously, their UI for canceling those, it is so easy and fast. So if this has been on your to-do list to check up subscriptions, well, you can give Rocket Money a whirl today and just get that problem solved. They've got other great features. Take lowering your bills. Like, do you want to lower your bills, but also you don't want to spend your life listening to hold music on a company's phone line? Upload your bills and Rocket Money will help you negotiate them, which is an insane feature. That's amazing. They do more as well. They help you budget, and so far they've actually saved their customers up to $740 a year with over $500 million of cancelled subscriptions. That's literally money that people were accidentally throwing to companies that's been saved, which I think is a really brilliant thing. So you can save more and spend less today. You can join the over 5 million members who use Rocket Money at rocketmoney.com/Bellular, or just click the link in the description to get started for free. And if you want to unlock more features, you can do so with premium. It's rocketmoney.com/Bellular to get started for free. With that said, oh boy, let's go talk about the news. Okay. Let's have some fun. Because look, it's not often that audiences get to give their feedback, in person. Usually it's forum posts, usually it's Reddit. This is, I suppose, pretty close to the whole, hey, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke that Red Shirt guy did? Well, another Red Shirt guy over at BlizzCon with the whole Diablo Immortal thing. So here's what happened. Ubisoft decided to debut their new premium subscription for Rainbow Six Siege at Blast R6 Major Manchester 2024. Right, big esports event, and that makes sense because Rainbow Six Siege, big esports game. I mean, it is a game, has been going from strength to strength. Like, I know it's had a few wobbles, but it is truly a game that is fantastic and has stood the test of time. So this is us criticizing this, not because, oh, let's laugh at the bad game and the stupid company. No, this is an amazing game. And that's why this actually matters all the more. And the theatrics of this could not be more perfect. I mean, the announcement was actually drowned out by booing from the audience, and courtesy of the person who captured it live, Roy's Gaming, here's the clip. I mean, come on, that is absolutely incredible. Now, to give you some context in this story, this came during the reveal for the next season of the game. It's a season that is specifically devoted to rebuilding the onboarding experience for new players to Rainbow Six Siege, which in a game like this with a very high skill ceiling is obviously an extremely important thing, especially if you want that to be a sustainable game for the future. And ultimately, trying to make this a sustainable live game for the future, that is why this sort of thing is happening. But of course, while a new player experience is fantastic, if you're not a new player, well, that does mean it's not going to be particularly targeted towards you. So I think even if they could understand this, a lot of people weren't thrilled. And the other side of that is season 1 of this year was actually pretty great. It gave people a whole new operator as well as updates to systems and mechanics, right? So the sort of thing that's nothing particularly special, but it is the standard expectation for a Rainbow Six Siege season. And that basically is the problem with season 2. It is not what people expected. So what we've got is, instead of a new character, technically 2, but but really those are both remasters for the base level recruit characters. And that means that literally like no player who's been playing for more than a month will use this because they've got actual characters at that point, right? So that's going to be pretty rough. Otherwise though, the marketed features for the season are a minor rebalance for operators and then 2 separate money-making opportunities for Ubisoft, and that's obviously where we have the problem. Of course, they do need to make money for a game like this, and I suppose here's my question to all of you, no matter what game you play, whether it's Diablo, whether it's Path of Exile, whether it's Siege, unless you end up being a game so gargantuan that the money's nearly infinite, you do have to balance, profit and loss, right? You gotta make money, you gotta sustain it. That means that a live service has got to make money in some way. What do you think is a reasonable way to do that? In the land of Diablo 4, they literally have 0 player power or gameplay impacting stuff that can be paid for. They have none of that, but they've got a battle pass. They've got the store, and the store just gives people a bit of sticker shock. Obviously, in Counter-Strike, there's nothing gameplay impacting, but you got your crates, and of course, more recently, we've got the rental system that's there. I think we can all agree that something needs to exist, especially, of course, if we want these teams to be, maintained, right, and the game to get updates. So what is the right way to do that? I genuinely want to know what you think, because to me, it seems that this is, the #1 problem that the games industry is struggling with. Now, of course, way back in the day, what we had was the subscription fee, which in a way was just kind of a la carte. Here's what it costs to get into the theme park. We'll keep making stuff for the theme park. Brackets expansion packs. But anyway, to go back to this, there's a marketplace that was in testing already, and it's basically the Counter-Strike style skin selling system, right? So it's that in a marketplace. It's going to be launching fully, and Ubisoft will basically let people buy skins from other people using their Rainbow Six credits. So there's that. And for Ubisoft, it's pretty awesome because they just benefit from making a marketplace, and then players drive the marketplace. This is obviously taking a page out of Valve's book. I think a very sensible one. But then, of course, we got the drama. The drama is the Rainbow Six Siege membership. I mean, hey, look at this lead marketing dude with his cool glasses. I mean, damn, how could you not buy that? What this is, right, is basically Fortnite Crew. So Fortnite Crew is a subscription within Fortnite, and it's one of those things where it just ends up being more cosmetics, more rewards, V-Bucks, whatever. But for doing the subscription, it ends up being a good deal as opposed to just buying things with V-Bucks that you buy normally. And loads of games do this. I mean, take Genshin Impact, take Blue Archive, right? Just to grab some gacha games. They have almost always got one or maybe many different subscriptions. And the subscriptions are basically saying, hey, if you have this subscription, you will have more efficient playtime. So when you do the subscription, you get the premium battle pass and 10 free levels. You get a legendary item skin, an epic operator bundle, and a Bravo pack, which is basically a cosmetic loot box. And a bunch of those are monthly, and it costs $9.99 a month. Or, of course, you can subscribe for the entire year for $79.99. So in theory, the way this works, right, is that 1 month of this is the same price as the battle pass that you get access to. But of course, you pay for this monthly, and a battle pass in this game lasts for 3 months. Of course, during those 3 months, you'll be paying $30 of subscription fee, or if you buy the annual version, $20, right? And the only thing that you're saving in terms of cost is the battle pass that comes with it. So what you're doing is you're paying more, you're getting some cosmetics and consumables, and they're removing levels from your battle pass, which will mean you get that battle pass a bit more efficiently. Now, the worst part here is that this is actually a worse deal for players than the Fortnite version that inspired it. Much worse value, actually. So the Fortnite Crew subscription that they're aping here, instead of giving you a cosmetic loot box, it just gives you 1,000 V-Bucks each month to use as you wish. No such thing is happening here. Additionally then, and this is something that's easy to forget, Rainbow Six Siege is a paid game. It is still a paid game. And that does mean that people technically are paying for the privilege of being advertised to and then additionally monetized. And that does bring up a large problem in the games industry. If you bought Rainbow Six Siege, 8 years ago, right? Well, okay, Ubisoft made some money 8 years ago. So they're probably going to want more money from you. And I mean, in a way, that is understandable. Now, of course, for players, that doesn't necessarily matter. Like, when they bought the game, they didn't buy a ticket that would grant them access to the game for 2 years. They bought the game with the understanding that that comes with the game. And it's also not like this is a game that had much of a single-player component or anything like that, which very much does mean, yeah, you bought a multiplayer game, you do expect to be able to play it. And of course, you can completely play it. It's just that then if the monetization also feels like a free-to-play game, oh, hello, we have an Overwatch 2 style problem. And the final thing I should mention is they sort of sell this as having like around 4,500 Rainbow Six Siege credits of value per month. We all do love value. That is about, like, if you're just buying those credits straight up, that is about like £25, maybe $30 worth, something along those lines. But of course, they're not given to you straight. That's in the form of cosmetics. I do then wonder if they would then hope that lots of people on the subscription would be putting that amazing extra free value that they get onto the marketplace. Because then that means they can turn their subscription into Rainbow Six credits. Other people are, of course, buying those credits. And, for Ubisoft, they profit, obviously, when any of those credits are purchased. But, that will not be an efficient transaction. There will be some form of transaction fee, which, like how it works with Valve, just means they're consistently skimming off the top. Like, look, as a business, I think we can all look at that and say, all right, I see what you're doing. And it's a pretty good plan. Of course, it would be a pretty good plan if this was overtly a free-to-play game and if it had have been a good bit more generous, maybe like the Fortnite version. But let's talk about the why here. So number one, they got to make money. And number two, focusing on the new player experience is undoubtedly like super, super important. For a game that I play, World of Warcraft, if Blizzard said to me, look, man, the next patch is just not focused on you endgame guys, it is on new players, I would certainly have mixed feelings. I'd be disappointed as a player, but as somebody who is trying to think about, well, do I want to keep enjoying this thing that I play with my friends for a long time? Maybe get some new friends in? Yeah, obviously new player experience being good is really positive for the health of the ecosystem. And of course, reality's a bastard because you can't do two things at once. It's not like they can magically work twice as hard to give you a regular endgame season and all of this stuff for the newer players. I think ultimately the problem here is timing and how they're kind of selling this to people. Look, they obviously did not sell people on this being a good thing for them. Anytime you're going to do something, just imagine the person that you're going to say it to will then say, all right, but what does that mean? What does this mean for me? They haven't done a great job of answering that question, and they've just got their timing wrong. Because look, if you say, hey, we're going to focus on new players and that's what we're doing right now, and then you leave it at that, you can sell people on that. If you do that and then also try to squeeze people a little bit harder, well, that's just not going to be a successful thing, is it? Right? You want to do these nice things, and then whenever you do the Rainbow Six Siege subscription, how about you pair that with the new season of game content that is really well targeted to the existing player base, right? Like, I mean, come on, this should be... This is kind of basic planning, right? And of course, there's another problem. There is another thing that actually counters the idea of saying, hey, this subscription is great because it makes the game more sustainable. Like, I think that is true. But there's another side to this. Ubisoft is not a company that has a mission statement that says, we make Rainbow Six Siege. Because if it was, then that would be a far more simple argument. They want to extract money out of this game so that it can pay for other things. Ubisoft have got to pay for the development costs of the half dozen extraction shooters that they have cancelled. Say The Division Heartlands. It's got to make up for the revenue that they wish they got from the Tom Clancy shoot bang in the island game that sucked. I've completely forgotten its name. The Ghost Recon one, right? Like, they've got to pay for all of that stuff. And hey, what about the quadruple A title Beyond Good and Evil 2? Yeah, oof. As an example, I've spoken to numerous people who worked at a company known as Blizzard Entertainment, where they basically said, listen, right, World of Warcraft was the cash cow. They could have reinvested way more in World of Warcraft like a decade plus ago, but ultimately they didn't because they thought it would die and they wanted to move on and do Titan and do other things. And it's always that frustrating thing. You wish that you had that really tight, positive feedback loop relationship with the developers and with the business, where all of your money is feeding back into the thing that you're playing, but that is just not the case, and especially with a large publisher like this, it is absolutely not the case. But let's talk a quick little bit about XDefiant. Bit of a silly name for a game, but it is, of course, it's the other thing that's came out. And Ubisoft haven't said anything publicly, but insider gaming sources say that it's reached 8 million unique players and 700,000 concurrents on Bank Holiday Monday, which is bloody astounding. Yeah, absolutely mad. I wasn't one of them on that day, but I have played the game a little bit. Matt Piscatello, who's another industry analyst that we often go to, he says that this managed to beat out loads of competing live services. It didn't reach Call of Duty, but yeah, per him, in the US, right? It beat, this is DAUs, daily active users on PS5. It was behind Call of Duty, Fortnite, and NBA 2K24. It was third on Xbox behind only Fortnite and Call of Duty. So that is absolutely insane performance on an objective level. Obviously, this is a game that is being marketed as the thing to take on Call of Duty, big 6v6 shooter. It is made by a lot of ex-Call of Duty people, and of course for a lot of the influencers, the content creators in and around this game, well, they're talking about skill-based matchmaking. I don't know if that'll be the biggest point for every single player, but it is something that a lot of people have been frustrated about in the newer CODs. It's a strange thing, because the companies that do skill-based matchmaking, and this has existed in games, I mean, so many of them, as an example, Halo 3 is one, they do say whenever skill-based matchmaking is done that it actually does improve their player retention numbers. I actually do believe that, but I think some of the problem is the tightness of the skill-based matchmaking and how that basically just removes too much variance. And, you know, obviously we're humans, we have our monkey brains, we do like a lot of variance, we don't want every match to feel the same. So the idea that you could have two really amazing matches and then have another one where you get utterly stomped on, that sort of diversity in play is really positive for a game. So when I look at the skill-based matchmaking thing, I do agree with the companies that it probably makes their numbers look better, but I also agree with lots of the players who will say, yeah, but when the skill-based matchmaking is this tight, all my matches feel the same. And really, that's not the core discussion of today, so I'll bench it there, but I do think it's one of the more fascinating ones to happen in the whole, like, developers and players talking about game design and how we do these things. I just think it's fascinating. But anyway, what XDefiant is an Ubisoft live service, and that means it's got some lovely, tasty monetization. What's cool, though, or I suppose neat for Ubisoft, is this is all based on Ubisoft IP. I mean, in a way, this is Tom Clancy's Heroes of the Storm. I have a feeling that phrase just hurt people. I'm sorry, but yes, this is Tom Clancy's Hero of the Storm. It's bringing all of the things together, I suppose. And it is weird. Like, I know the people from Division with the fire, like the fire gun ability, like, man, that thing was really damn annoying. Anyway, the way it goes now is you can buy credits. You can see here, $32.99, $57.99, and $15.99. Of course, that's British pounds. So there you go. That's how those are done. But of course, it absolutely is early days. We have no idea where this sort of thing will go. I will say from my own perspective, I liked a lot of what I played. I just found the biggest problem to be readability, lots of super garish colors, and look, this is a criticism I have in Call of Duty. I really don't like the way that you're always in these games now playing as like super stylized, weird, cool people. You know, like say the Call of Duty games. I mean, I like to do my military shoot bang as military looking shoot bang people. That's what I wanted. So now when you go into a Call of Duty match and there's flipping Lilith and Inarius and Mulder from X-Files running around, it actually does kind of kill the vibe for me, because a lot of the time for me, games are experience-based, and I think those things kind of mess it up, and that is certainly an area where I get a bit more rumbly with this game. Anyway, let me know, have you played XDefiant? Are you a Siege player? And as much as this seems weird, this has honestly got me wanting to play Siege again, mostly because I hadn't thought about it, and I just remembered how much fun I've had with Siege, and I'm sure a lot has changed since I last played it. Even though, obviously, this is not a good development. I think this development, you know, it could be done. You could do this subscription, but I think you would have to do it in a different way, in a way that is fundamentally quite a bit more generous towards people. And of course, differently timed, and perhaps with more of an understanding of basically saying, hey, we've just hit our best concurrency on Steam ever. We're putting more resources into this game to make it bigger and better, and we're also doing this so we can have our balance sheet be happy. If it had gone like that, maybe the PR would have been better. Anyhow, that's it. Of course, if you want more, there will be a video up tomorrow. Otherwise, check out bellular.games. That's where you can support the show, get early access to stuff, and also enjoy Loading Screen, which is one of my favorite reads, actually. It's great. Sometimes, I actually know what I'm going to be recording before I record it, because I found out about it in Loading Screen, which is kind of fun. Anyway, have a great day. See you later.